New Bedford, and welcome back to Innovate and Educate. And yes, this looks a little different. Today we have a very special guest. It's the first time that on this amazing journey we've had a guest come in. As you saw in the last episode, I talked a lot about digital citizenship. And today I'm going to talk about student data privacy. But for me, it's something that I'm also learning, and I want to bring on a very special guest to talk about that. And we're going to learn from each other. I'm going to ask her a few questions. We're going to be at a desk. I'm really excited about this, and we're going to weave this into some episodes going forward, because not only do I want you to hear from me, I want you to hear from the amazing educators and staff that we have here in New Bedford. So I'm incredibly excited and honored to welcome in Amanda Cenerizio. How'd I do?
You did great.
I did great. So Amanda is our Manager of Information Systems. What does that mean?
As an Information Systems Manager, I manage the accounts for students and staff, and we do account creation for them. We manage all of the information systems, all the educational apps, email, and just training sessions for staff and things like that in the district. We kind of manage all of the Aspen and just everything that you don't see in the background, but you use in the classroom every day.
Yeah, and I've been incredibly fortunate to be part of the technology services team as the Assistant Superintendent of Technology and Learning, and seeing all of the work that you do. And I saw you deliver professional development to our new teachers, but you didn't start out at this.
No.
Tell us your journey of how you wound up being our Manager of Information System. What's been your path?
My path. Well, back in 2016, 8 years ago, I was working in IT out in Norton, and it was a long commute. My daughter was in elementary school, and it was long. I wanted to be closer to her. I wanted to, just have more time. So when I heard about a job in the IT department for the school department, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be great. I was born in the city. I graduated from the city. I didn't always live here, but my heart lives here. So 8 years ago, I started working in IT at the high school, and I was there during the one-to-one rollout from 9th to 12th grade.
Wow.
And so from there I moved to the technology integration managers, where I worked more with staff, taught them how to use technology in their classrooms, worked with students, troubleshot some technology issues, and then there was an opening for an information systems role at the district level, and I was like, oh, this is going to be great, because then I can go and make a difference on a bigger level in the district. So that's where I am today. Wow,
that's great. And let me tell you, we are fortunate to have you in our department. And last episode, I talked about digital citizenship. And now we're going to go into something I know you're incredibly passionate about. So I took a kind of a deep dive into my topic, but can you share what the student data privacy is and why it's important to New Bedford schools?
Yeah, sure. So student data privacy, it means protecting the personal information of students in New Bedford School District. This is things like their name, their contact information, their addresses, even their test scores, attendance, and things like even their online activity and when they're using their school devices and the digital resources that we provide. So any of that is personally identifiable information. We have over 13,000 students in the district, and each one of them has a story. Each one of them has so many tiny details about them that we need to keep protected and only visible to people that need access and to organizations that have been committed, just like us, to protecting that information. For example, if a student's personal information is shared and that gets out, then that could lead to identity theft. That could lead to being very costly for us and families.
Yes, and I think this is one of the reasons, this is exactly why I wanted you to come on, because the work that you do is so valuable for our district, but more importantly, as you talked about, 1,300 students. Each one of them, their information is important and it's private. So thank you for doing that. And this isn't just a New Bedford thing. There's laws and and districts have to follow these laws. Can you kind of talk a little bit about the laws that govern the student data privacy?
Sure. There's so many different laws, and New Bedford Public Schools adheres to all of the federal laws regarding student data privacy. 3 of those are the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, which is FERPA. And FERPA ensures that parents have access to their children's educational records and that those records are kept confidential. COPA, which is the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, it applies to websites and online services that serve children under 13, and it makes sure that parental consent is given and they don't collect personal information unless they get consent. Then also there's the Children's Internet Protection Act, and that protects students from harmful online content by making districts implement safety procedures and policies and filtering systems to protect that information.
Yeah, this is just a lot to take in, and it's a lot to learn. And again, I can't say thank you enough for the work that you do to ensure our students come to school, they are safe. But there's another layer of this that I want you to dive into. That this summer even, we had all of our students take home Chromebooks, and in schools that students are going to be using these online platforms for educational use. So I would love for you to talk about how the student data privacy impacts the programs that we already have.
Yeah, so data privacy for online learning platforms and educational technology applications, they're governed by several key principles. Our district complies with FERPA, COPA, and SIPA and other relevant laws to ensure the protection of student data. And this includes obtaining paper consent and implementing data privacy procedures.
Sure.
We also sign data sharing agreements with vendors to make sure that they that outline how they're committed to securing students' data and how that data is used and stored and protected. Our district team carefully vets educational technology apps and with the vendors and ensures that they meet safety and security standards. And last, we inform our district parents about technology and use in the classrooms and provide options for opting out if they so choose. Those documents are found on the Technology Services Department page on our website for the district.
No, that's wonderful. And again, this is information that we're continuing to learn, that it's continuing to be updated throughout. So make sure to continue to check that website, to read about some of the laws and systems and services that Amanda has been talking about. One of the things that she said in that last answer that I'm just taking notes, like, all right, I have to remember this. You talked about content controls. And if you could go a little bit deeper on that how do content controls contribute to maintaining these, possibilities for student data privacy?
Yeah, sure. Content controls help maintain student data privacy by regulating the type of information that can be shared and accessed by our ed tech vendors. By controlling what content is available and monitoring data access, we can prevent unauthorized individuals and malicious intent from viewing and using our students' sensitive information. These controls also help ensure that only appropriate educational materials are shared with our students and also minimizes the risk of exposing them to inappropriate content.
Yes, so you have a lot on your shoulders. You have a lot of responsibility, and it's amazing to see. I was able to see that firsthand when I moved into this role, and then it was why when I was thinking about who's going to be the first person I bring on, I said, this is information we need to know. As school is starting, as students are using more of their devices and our educators are planning more lessons, this is critical information. And not that I really want to go down the road of what are the consequences, but I do want to just talk about why this is so important because of the possible consequences for the students and their data. So for our last question, can you kind of just touch on what are some of the possible consequences? Because that really stresses the first really 10 minutes of what we've been talking about.
Yeah, definitely. If our district fails to protect student data privacy, there are a lot of consequences that can be severe. And so the first one is that we could be subject to legal fines from governmental organizations. for failing to comply with laws like FERPA, COPA, and SIPA that I talked about earlier. Another consequence is the lack of trust that's going to be the result of the data breach between the district and our families and students, and this causes there to be a bad reputation now with our families, and also ruins the relationship with our community. If there is a data breach, our district also could incur significant costs related to the remediation of the data breach and to legal fees. And another consequence could be that governmental organizations could require corrective action and corrective measures and policies that could be costly and time-consuming for us.
Yeah, and we don't want any of those things. So we are thankful for your work. We are thankful for sharing that and all that you do to have our 13,000 students each and every day, because as you've been hearing as you watch this, I want our students to be digitally safe. I want our educators and students to be innovative, and having this information and bringing it to you in our district is critically important. So Amanda, thank you so much for coming on, being the first guest. I know it was something that I kind of just sprung on you, but it was so great to have you here and share with the community as well. So thank you for coming on.
It was definitely great to come on and to be able to start sharing these types of things. I think they're important for everybody to know and be a part of. So thank you for having me.
You're welcome. If you have questions, you can reach out to me. And maybe we could do a follow-up episode or have some information for you, because the whole point of this show, as I say at the top most of the time, is that I want to take a deep dive to support you and to support our students and to support innovation in New Bedford. So thank you for joining us on this first of its kind, but not the last, to have an interview as part of Innovate and Educate, because every idea starts with a splash and ends making a whale of a difference.